All right, all right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? We got something we got to talk about here today. Yes, we do. It is Think About It Thursday. It's episode 57 of the Noontime My Time Podcast. That's right. And we got to talk about what everybody is talking about right now. And why wouldn't we be having this discussion? All right. Isaac and I are from South Carolina, and I got to tell you something. It was a very, very proud moment for me to see this young man and his athletic abilities with the NBA. What he does in basketball has just been incredible. I have to tell you that. So he really made us South Carolina proud. He has. There's a whole lot of controversy going on right now. A lot. So much. You've seen it in the news. You've seen so many people have their opinion. And like I said, Isaac Wilson and I, we have our opinion too. And so we're here to have a conversation with you guys. We want to dive in deep a little bit about this whole controversy, right? It's like Ja Morant against the American gun culture. You know the culture. You know what it is. All right. We'll get into the conversation. But before we get into that conversation, you know what I like to do first. What I always do, I allow us to take a little bit of our time back. It's lunchtime, it's noontime, time for us to just take a little break. And so we want to shake a little bit of that stress off that we may have had already in the day. So we're going to do a little breathing exercise. Y'all ready for it? What I want you to do is inhale to the count of 4. And we're going to hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to exhale. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And we'll repeat that a few times. Now, you can close your eyes if you're in a place that you can do that. I don't want you to do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're driving. Don't do that if you're actually sitting at the desk. If you got your head pods on and you're taking a listen, we'll vibrate with us and listen. But if you can close your eyes, close your eyes. You want to take it a step further, put your hands over your heart and feel that you are alive. That's you. Let's get into it. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. One more time. Let's inhale. Hold it a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. Doesn't it feel great? Absolutely. It absolutely feels great. And I hope you did take the breathing exercise with it because you're going to need it. You're really going to need it. I got to tell you something. This is all over the news. It's all over the internet. Ja Morant and this gun incident. Once again, and everybody has their opinion. They do. I don't even know how I could really explain how I feel. And initially, when the whole controversy came out, everybody was kind of asking me how I felt about it. And I was like, guys, I don't have an opinion right now. I really don't. I got to just kind of let this thing, I got to meditate with this because I feel a whole lot of different ways. I'm asking myself, how much are we blaming this guy? And why? Because there's so much in American culture, American gun culture, and we're like putting a lot of blame on one young man. Now, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not at all. I'm not at all. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what was on his mind. I want to get Isaac in here. When I get Isaac in here, we'll get right on into the conversation. All right, all right. How you doing, Isaac?
Doing good, doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm doing good. I'm trying to figure everything out because I mean, Ja's the homie for us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right down the road.
Yeah, Sumter, South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's so much going on, man, and a lot of people have been asking me, and I'm sure a lot of people have been asking how you feel about the situation.
Yes. Yes.
So, someone sent me a video like right before we were about to come on air, so I'm gonna play a little piece of it. But I tell you what, before I do that, why don't you just go ahead and give your take on it? Let's do that out the gate.
And this is my first official take. I am affiliated with different organizations, and this is strictly from Isaac Wilson and not affiliation of any organization that I represent. So just want to throw that out there.
Respect.
So my thing is it's a two-headed monster, and so a lot of people have their opinions of, oh, well, he's stupid because he has money and this and that, and I think in one sense, yes, you have to think about that. That yeah, he's stupid. Yeah, he's whatever you're gonna call him. Then they say about his dad, and his dad should have been talking to him, and blah 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 blah. Then they say it's his friends, and his friends it's his friend's fault. My whole take is that he just has to be smarter. My whole take is that many people need to look from the realm of Ja Morant is not an entrepreneur. So let's
Mhm.
start there. He
Right.
doesn't own where he works. He has an employer. His employer is the Memphis Grizzlies. That's who he works for. He gets a paycheck from the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies has guidelines. It doesn't matter whether you're in a state where marijuana is legal. Doesn't matter if you're in a state where carrying a gun and doing whatever is legal. He is employed by the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Memphis Grizzlies has guidelines that he cannot do. And so put this in the realm of you working at a Walmart. And if Walmart told you that you can't do something, and then within a matter of 2.5 months, you go and you do that very same thing again, Walmart will fire you. They will put you out of the door because it doesn't matter what the world says, but when you
Yeah.
walk inside of Walmart, you have those rules. So Ja Morant has a set of rules that he just was defiant on. He broke
Right.
the rules again. And that's the only thing that we need to be talking about. You don't need to talk about whether the gun is legal. You need to talk about whether he's stupid or whatever. He has an employer. They have rules. He broke them. He broke them twice within 2.5 months.
Wow, wow, wow. Listen, I get that. I get all of that. And I see Ty Davis in here. He's agreeing with you. He says facts. And I'm not saying that anything that you have said is wrong, but you gotta know that our culture here in America, we have a gun culture here. I mean, it's in the movies, it's on television, it's in music videos. There's just so much that I could say. And like I told you, I had a video that someone sent me. And in fact, let me pull it up. I want to show it because I hadn't seen this, but this is very much how I feel. And we'll talk about this after we get a chance to watch this video. Let me pull it up here. One moment. It's just I don't know, man. He's young. He's not making some smart decisions. Like you said, we can't really blame his friends. No, we're not looking to blame his friends, but there's some people who are doing some things that are a lot crazier than he's doing, if you ask me. And especially if we want to talk about what some of these politicians might be doing out here. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I wanna I wanna bring this video up because someone messaged it to me. Here we go. Let me know if you can hear this.
I can't hear him talking.
You can't.
No, that's JJ Reddick. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Well, basically, I'm having a problem with the audio with that. I don't know. I wasn't prepared to really show that because, like I said, it was just sent to me. But basically, what he is saying is that okay, yeah, he pretty much said what you said. What he did was wrong. But we've got a whole lot of politicians out here who are on Christmas cards and displaying their guns. They're taking family pictures with their guns. And I think I might have some of those pictures so you won't necessarily have to hear the audio. But what are we saying about this? I mean, look at this. Proudly. These are some pretty big weapons here. Not even a handgun. These are assault rifles here. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean,
hear you.
yeah. So we got to ask ourselves, what does this look like? What does this really look like? You know the culture. You know that, like the pictures that I just showed you. What's going on with that? We're talking about a young man who flashed a gun. Still not saying it's right. I'm not. I'm not even going to talk about his friends, but I do think he needs to visit that because I want to know this. If you are really a friend to someone and you know your friend and they might be doing some stupid things, you got to talk to them. You got to let them know, hey, what you're doing is stupid. But more than that, what you're doing is stupid. Why is it that you've got to be recording you being together? He's your friend. You're there with him, but you want to feel a little big up. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's
I got
crazy,
you.
man.
Yeah, I understand that. And to those pictures, I could go online and I could show you a myriad of pictures of black families take posing with guns in a simplistic manner, like that picture you just showed,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. Now, as to Congress and politicians having guns, well, there are no rules there. Again, they're employed by the people. There are no rules. And I think that's the point that you have to bring everything back to, is that if he had flashed his gun the first time and the Memphis Grizzlies didn't do anything, then okay, you can do it again. But when they explicitly told you that this is not the way that we want our team represented and the NBA, and you can no longer do this, that
Mhm.
should have been a conversation for Ja Morant to go back to his friends and say, hey, when there are guns around, no videos, no
Right.
Instagram, no Twitter, no nothing, because I cannot lose what I have going on because they say I cannot do this.
Right. Absolutely.
That's point blank. And so you go and do it again.
But
So I mean, I think that's the point, that you just have to hone everything in, and there's nothing else to really be discussed outside of that, to be
well,
honest.
I mean, we could say that. We could say that, but I just feel like there is a larger conversation to have if we really want to draw attention to guns, and if this is really going to make us talk about guns, I feel like okay, let's go into a larger conversation that we could probably be having. I see that we have Ty Davis here with a comment. He said it's a hot topic right now for the NBA. The way that the media works, they're looking for anything that a major superstar does wrong becomes a headline. It becomes headline news. There are plenty of NBA players that make the same mistakes and we never heard about it. And that is true. So, that comes to say, okay, well, they have curated the people who are around them, right? They
Mm-hmm.
have friends who are friends. And they think about it. Because I have a son who will be 23 years old soon, college student. And very much, you feel adult. You're certainly not a kid, but you're not a full grown adult. There are a whole lot of immaturity and immature decisions that are made within that time frame. It is, and we have to know that. Um, I don't say that he shouldn't be punished. I don't say that, but I know that, we've had 184 shootings so far this year in America.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking about that? Is that on our minds? Like a majority of these deaths are happening within like the South, like Texas. Well, some in California, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, because it's not being addressed, man. It really isn't. So what is your take on that? If we've had 184 mass shootings so far in America, and this was in May, so it is the numbers have increased so far. You know, what is your take on that?
um, the 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 mass shootings in America, that is a more complex issue, because you're talking about making a politician do what they do. You're talking about red states, blue states, purple states, that kind of thing. So the everyday American can't really do anything but do what I'm doing, and that's fighting and putting the information out there and trying to rally people to go and vote out the people that won't vote for gun legislation in this country. And so I
Right.
think that's a larger issue there. And I think we need more people that care about it. We can talk about it, but what are you doing to push that agenda forward? Because a lot of people, everyday people that I see, they really don't care about it, because if it's not affecting their everyday life, it's not hitting close to home yet. Okay, it's another mass shooting. We turn the TV on, we see it, and we go about our everyday life. So nobody's really, really trying to fight for that issue in communities that look like ours.
Well,
Because
I don't know. I don't know, Isaac. I don't know. It
it,
seems like the policies are just not being made. And I don't know. What is it that you feel like the everyday person? What would be a suggestion? What would you suggest the everyday person do about that? Because there are a lot of people talking about it. There are things that they want to do about it. But as you see, we only have so much control. We're putting people in office, but if they are not passing these policies, what else is it that the people can do?
Vote those people out, sign petitions, go up to your local party. I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat. It really doesn't matter to me. But are you going to those meetings, speaking up? You know, I'm the chair of a Democratic Party in Florence County. We have the same 16, 20 people every last Tuesday of the month.
Right.
Nobody's coming to talk to us about it. And
Mhm.
so I'm in the front line seeing this thing and nothing's being done. Even when you bring it up to people, they're like, oh man, let them handle that, man. It ain't affecting me. And so that's the thing. They may talk about it, but what are they actually doing? And so you got to get out and vote. Even when we vote, people are saying, oh, and my vote don't matter. Well, when you don't vote, you keep those people in office that aren't doing anything. Hold these people to the fire. Call them. Hey, how are you voting? You know, when you see these people out in public, hey, what's your thoughts on this? What are you doing? And if they don't speak your language and you know that your community feels the same way you do, call them out on it. Get those people to rally behind you to do those things. That's really what we need. We need people to stand up in the face of adversity and speak truth to power. And we don't have that. We got people that hide behind conversations.
Okay.
And so that's the first thing we need to do.
Wow, 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 wow. I want people to talk. I want people to talk about it. And I definitely hope that the conversation is going to motivate them into some actions. I do. And I see that we have a comment here from Ty Davis. He said, it's still very ignorant for people to think that this man can just break the rules of his job and not feel like there should be consequences and repercussions. And absolutely, we agree with that. Um, it seems like he's pretty much put himself in a terrible predicament. Very, very terrible predicament. Tyler also goes to say that we can definitely discuss the culture of our environment and the tone set for how our kids are being brought up in these days to act and respond. Music plays a big part in our culture. It is very influential. And actually, music is the most common use form of hypnosis. But
But that's
that's
a
a
deeper
different topic.
topic.
But he's right.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely right. And the Ja Morant situation it goes a little deeper. It's not just the gun issue. You got to think about what his family has put him. He's at the pinnacle of his family. He wasn't a kid that was low income. His family had money. So he wasn't in the trenches, so to say. I think that's been
Exactly.
very well spread. He wasn't in trenches. So, but when there was a situation with his sister, who did they call? While he was in the NBA, who did they call? They called him to handle his sister's situation. That got out of control. When his
Mhm.
mom had a situation in the finish line, who did they call? They call him from the NBA, the player that's in the NBA. They called him to handle the mom's situation at finish line. He got into it with the manager. The manager had to run in the back. He banged on the door, told the manager what he would do to him, and he brought his goons with him. When a situation on the side of the court with his brother and oh my God, what's his name? Shannon
Shannon
Sharp.
Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. Who was in the middle of that? You supposed to be playing ball. They making fun. So it's the culture that he's created around him and that his family has created around him that he thinks that he needs to be in there, and they keep calling on him to do it. And so that's why I say it's a double-edged sword, because he was built to be this person, because now everybody, when they have a problem, they think his name is big and they think he has the tools and they think he can get out of everything, and they call him to fix their problems. And that shouldn't be. He should be the furthest away from it and saying, we're going to call somebody else because you still got to go do what we need you to do in the NBA. But they don't do that. So
Isaac. All of that stuff that you said here, let's dig a little bit more into that. Okay. Well, you said he didn't grow up in poverty and in quote unquote the hood. So where is this coming from? Where did he get this type of attitude? How did he become this? How did he become this? I'm gangster, I'm a G, I'm strapped. Where did that come from?
It came from people depending on him and his need to protect them. And so when you got a need to protect, you find every arsenal and every tool to protect them. And so what's the first tool you go get? You go get guns to protect. If somebody's constantly calling on you, you begin to be that, you begin to create that culture around you. Now you go find this person to be around you, this person to be around you, this person to be around you. Before long, you got a mass of culture, created a culture around you, and you're still the person that they call. And so that what has happened. Anytime they get in trouble, they call him. And he goes off the handle. He goes and goes off the brink and do all this stuff. So it's just people dependent on him, and they pulled him into a culture to be built around him. And I think that is the other part of it that we don't look at as well.
I got you. And I see we got some comments that are continuing to roll in. I see that we have Voodoo here in the building. How you doing, Voodoo? He said, what rules did he break outside of the rules of public opinion? Well, Voodoo, I think you kind of missed what everybody has really come to. The rules of the NBA, the rules of the Grizzlies, his job, his actual career, his job, who writes his check. I also see that Voodoo says people from well-to-do families have pictures all over the internet holding assault rifles.
They do, and that's black and white families. I mean, it's on the internet. You can find them right now, and they didn't go to jail because, I mean, their jobs probably don't do that. But we got to stop looking at this in a microcosm way. This man is Ja Morant. He is one of the top elite basketball players in the NBA. And even if you take the person that just came in, a team says that anything you do to the detriment of this team, the detriment of the team or the NBA, we can fine you. And detriment is losing that endorsement. Because if they're sponsored by Adidas and Adidas pays for those jerseys every year, Adidas said, whoa, you got a player like Ja Morant who's inciting guns and all this stuff like that. And they said, we're going to pull back. That is a detriment to that team and to the NBA to lose sponsorships. And the way that people view the NBA or view that team, that is a detriment. We gotta stop looking at this as what rules did he break? Yeah, he can have a gun. Anybody can have a gun. But again, if I am working for Walmart and Walmart tells me that I can't go out and do anything that is a detriment to Walmart, and if it's flashing a gun and Walmart says you need to stop, you can't do that. And Walmart suspends me from work. And I go back in 2.5 months and I do that again after they just told me I cannot do that. I'm getting fired. So we got to stop looking at this as, oh, he's just this big person and he didn't break any rules. He broke the rules of their team and the NBA. That's what he did. Not lawfully, but the team in the NBA.
I got you. It's just, for me, you know, like I said, I'm not arguing what he did. That's very obvious. I just want us to look at the fact that we've got a gun problem here in America. America definitely has a gun culture, and we need to stand up and we need to talk about it. We need to face it. We need to get some policies and make sure that certain people are not allowed to have certain types of weapons. And that's really the bottom line. I'm just putting in some very plain terms. You know, 578 teens and children have been killed, more than that so far. And I've gotten this off of ABC website. So we've got to figure this whole thing out. There's a lot going on out here. It would be a totally different thing for me if we were here talking about Ja Morant shot somebody or killed somebody. The gun wasn't even fired. I,
Right.
so that's why I say there's just a larger conversation that this actually allows us to get into, where there actually was not any death involved. Because any moment now, any day that we turn on the news, there's no telling what we could hear. Anything from K through 12 schools or colleges, we can hear that there was a shooting. You can't go to Walmart. You can't go to the mall. Gun violence. And then with assault style rifles. And we're talking about a guy who had a handgun, a small handgun that he did not fire. No one got hurt. No one. No one. Stupid? Yes. But no one got killed. And we live in a culture where people are being killed all the time through gun violence. I don't know, man. I just feel like another conversation needs to be had. If he's going to be used to set an example, okay, take his punishment. But I don't want that to just be it. What are we going to do besides that? And you're talking about, okay, well, when his family has things that are going on, they're always calling him. Didn't he come from a two-family home? A
Yeah.
two-parent home, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not calling the father.
No.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's why I say it's a larger issue than what we're saying, because your daddy is right there in Sumter. So why your mama feel the need to call you to finish line when you are in the NBA? Why would your mama put you in that position? Why, when your sister had the issue, why would they call you out to a basketball tournament and you're freaking Ja Morant? Why are you arguing on the sidelines with fans, with your brother, them doing whatever? And now his brother has been banned from Memphis Grizzly games for a year. So this is not just an isolated issue. And we often find that people that come from well-to-do families, they want to go to the streets. They want to be that guy so much. We see it every single day. We like, boy, you ain't built like that. Well, you grew up in, we're talking about Florence, you grew up in Quimby when Quimby was, elite when we was back in school. You ain't from that kind of place. Why you acting like this? Why are you trying to put on that image? And I think that's the image that he took on. And I think just surrounded himself with those kind of guys and kind of took on that image.
That comes from, because I think all of us or many people are going to know someone close to them who could probably have this same situation, because I too have people in our family. We didn't grow up in the hood. Not at all. But I know young people who went to private schools, middle class family environment, two-parent home. And you leave your side of a well-to-do neighborhood to go to the hood and end up doing some foolishness, making these mistakes. But this is driven by media. This is driven by what Ty Davis was talking about, the culture of our media and the culture of our entertainment. They're seeing this stuff and they feel like that's the thing to be. They want to be thug. And I also see Ty Davis has a comment again here. He says, some of the people you truly need to cut off are often the ones you want to hold on to the most. So we get that. I mean, you're going to love your family members. You're going to do that. But I got to agree with you here, Isaac. They're calling the wrong person. He's the one who's taken them to a totally different level of where they are now. So I don't get it, man. I don't get it. We've got Voodoo Child here. He says, that is actually not true. That is not the NBA or Grizzlies' lawful format in addressing this particular issue. Well,
It is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how true that might be. This incident just happened too close to his last incidents. Voodoo goes on to say he is just making a very costly, youthful mistakes. Oh yeah, to say the very least, he's making some costly mistakes. I don't know, Isaac. What would you suggest? This is your friend. This is your friend, and you might not be the friend that he grew up with, or why can't some of his teammates, does he not have teammates that he hang out with? Does he not have teammates who are his friends? Who's talking to this guy? Who's in this guy's ear? Is it just his immediate friends?
I don't know. And I won't, dare to try to speculate on that. Only thing I can say is that somebody needs to talk to him if they haven't, and if they have, they need to keep talking to him. And I hate the narrative that people are saying, "Oh, his daddy should step up. His daddy should do this. His daddy should do that." We don't. That man probably is talking to his son, but his
Right.
son is grown with millions of dollars. His son doesn't have to listen to him. How many of us tell our children every day when they walk out the house not to do something, they go and do the very thing we told them not to? So we don't need
Absolutely.
to place blame on his daddy
Mhm.
or his family, because they can very well be telling him things, whatever. But when you got millions of dollars and you're on top of the world, where you seem like you're on top of the world, you're gonna go out and yes, you're gonna make some bonehead decisions. Um, when I was 23, I wasn't doing nothing about guns. I mean, I
Right.
wasn't. And there's a lot of 23-year-olds that aren't around playing with guns. There are a lot of NBA players that are 20, 21, 22, 23 that aren't flashing guns on Instagram and social media. So when people love to say, oh, well, he's young, he's making mistakes, he's making youthful, blah, blah, blah. No, well, what about the other side that he's deliberately showing you who he is and how he's going to live? What if he's doing that? What if that's just him?
Woo. Well, I just want to know, why aren't we doing things about these other people who are showing guns? That's all I want to know. And I do get that you say, okay, well, that's, you know, they don't have anything in their job description, or their particular jobs or careers. There's not an association with whether or not they display guns. Well, I just want to say, when it comes to, and particularly when it comes to politicians, I don't know how great of an idea that is. That makes me uncomfortable. That makes me uncomfortable because it seems to me that they are ignoring what is going on in this nation. They are ignoring the fact that it is too easy for certain people to get assault rifles. And there's no need for people to have assault rifles at all. And they're demonstrating this, and nothing is being done about it. I have a problem with that. I really do. I know it's different situations, I know it's different careers, but come on, man.
Yeah,
It's
I,
crazy.
I, I agree. I think something needs to be done. But we can't. I mean, there's nothing there to combat. We can talk to with blue in the face that something needs to be done about that, but it's not. And then we have to look at this situation and say, well, they told you what it was, and then you still went and did it. And I think I didn't have much to say on the first incident. Nothing to say. I chopped that up to a mistake. He partying, whatever. But immediately 2.5 months later, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Now I got something to say. Now that's an issue. It's no longer a mistake. It's no longer he's 23. This is something different here. And we just have to call a spade a spade. We can't say on one end, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Oh, but
Yeah,
not in this situation because it's Ja Morant and it's a gun and how we feel about guns. You can't do that. You can't have it both ways.
I got you, man. I got you, and you got me. I really feel like it's not even anything else to say, because
Yeah.
he's got to go within himself and figure out, like, it seems like he's going to have enough time to figure out, like, what it is he's doing. He's going to have enough time to figure out why it is he's doing that. And it
And
certainly is very costly a costly lesson. But I am certainly happy that we're not having this conversation, and it happened to have cost someone's life. And that makes
right.
a difference to me.
Right, right. And this happened again. This happened in 2010 when Gilbert Uranus, he bought guns. He actually got suspended for guns in the NBA. So it's not a one-off thing where they're making a thing. They suspended him for that as well. Although his was a little bit more, you know, drastic, where he actually bought them as a joke to the facility where he shouldn't have
Mhm.
had them. And no one got hurt, and it was a prank, but they still suspended him because they don't do guns.
Right.
So it's not a one-off thing. It happened before, or whatever case may be, and so they're just doubling down, and they're going to double down more because more and more things are going on, and so we can't talk about being proactive, and then now we're saying because it's him, we don't need to be proactive. Now we're gonna wait till the gun goes off. We're gonna wait till he keep on playing with guns and then somebody does get shot, or we're gonna solve the issue now and say, hey, bro, you don't need to be playing with guns, especially not waving no gun in the car. We got to be proactive in gun legislation. So on one end, you want to be proactive, and the other end, oh, he ain't breaking no rules. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna get on the same page about gun violence? Or are we not? It gotta be one or the other.
Hey, y'all heard the man. I can't even say anything else. I can't. I'm just to say that I'm disappointed is really just the least that I could say. That's it. You said it all, man. It's nothing else to really say. Everybody's having their comments and they're having their opinions. I just want us, like I said, I want us to have a larger conversation about our gun culture. I want us to have a larger conversation about what we're going to do politically about this. How are we going to have policies change? I need to know how we're going to visit that. I need people to take that serious. But other than that, he what a grandma used to say, you make your bed and you got to lie in it.
Make your bed, you got to lie in it.
That's what it looked like, y'all. I don't want to call the boy stupid. Everybody's out here, they calling them this, calling them that. They're saying he's not a thug. He didn't come from thug culture, but you presented an argument and you presented a side here that I just have to pay attention to. You're like, okay, well, look at what he's displaying. Are we going to wait for something, to happen to someone? Are we going to wait for someone to be shot? Because that's how I felt. And that was the position that I was taking here. I'm like, okay, we're not having a conversation about, okay, Ja Morant shoots so many people in a fight or gunfight at a club or whatever the case may be. We're not having that conversation. Like, why is this, outrageous? Yeah, he had the gun, it's stupid, whatever the case may be. But you made a very valid point. We've got people who do not come from the hood or do not come from that environment, but they are attracted to it. We've got to pay attention to the fact that our music, there's a culture of music and videos and media and movies, all of that stuff, movies and television show. You see guns all of the time. We see it. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I do want to reiterate my point here.
Please do.
I am in no point, in no way, form, shape, or fashion, trying to tear Ja Morant down. In no form or fashion am I saying that he can't possess a gun. In no form or fashion am I saying that the NBA should drop him and all his endorsements and all that. I think in whatever they do, it is whatever they do. What I'm saying is that he has to pay attention to the fact that he is employed by the Memphis Grizzlies. And if the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA say that you cannot do something, you should have it within yourself to say, I'm not going to mess this up. Y'all, when we're around with these guns in this house or in this car, I don't need no phones out. So you can still live your life. You can do what you want to do, but put those phones up and be very, very careful and mindful of where you are and who you are as a person. Because I am not the same person I was when I was running those streets down in the bottom or in North Florence. I got a name for myself as Isaac Wilson. So therefore, there are things that I cannot do and places that I cannot go. And I understand that. Is it salty sometimes? Yeah. Can I do those things outside of my community? Still no phones? Yes, I can. So you got to learn to live a different life and still be you. And that's what I want him to understand. And I'm trying to get people to understand that nobody's castrating this guy. Nobody's saying they want anything bad to happen. But he has to pay attention to his organization and where he gets his check from. And if they say he can't do it, he can't do it. And he has to leave it right there.
Wow. That's a great message, man. And I got to tell you, I agree with that. I don't even have anything else that I even want to add to that. I just want to say, be careful of the people that you are around, people. Be careful and pay attention to the things that you are doing, people. You've got to pay attention to that. We've got some comments that are coming in. Isaac, I want to read a couple of the comments. I just don't want to cut the people off since they've got the conversation. I see that Amina here. She says, I agree with Isaac. And she also goes on to say that in Greensville, a young middle school male was suspended from school because he carried a toy gun to the local movie theater. This is an issue that has to be discussed from multiple aspects, especially how what we do as far as consequences. I hadn't heard that story actually. We certainly do. I also see Kalia Jackson here. She says, I think John needs to understand that there are certain things that you can no longer do once you reach certain points in your career. He doesn't have to be the face of the come up, but he needs to be aware that folks are watching. Absolutely. And that's pretty much what you were saying here, Isaac. And we see people are agreeing with that. Also, we has Voodoo Child in here. He says he is being made an example by both sides of the coin. Now that's deep, but he's right.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. I just don't know what we can do about it because the point of the matter is he really did this, and everyone definitely is going to have an opinion, and people are going to have different opinions. So there are going to be people who may be harsh. There are people who are going to think that things are being done too harshly. That's unfortunate because as the conversation kind of evolves here, we realize that this is a position that he really put himself in. Voodoo goes to say that people don't address all of the fake gel and BB guns being sold in thousands of flea markets. Well, this is true because let's think about this too. How do we even know that it was a real gun? I mean, if we want
But again, even with the situation that she said in Greenville, now that kid got suspended, he understands that a real gun doesn't belong there either. That we're not even gonna play these games. Being proactive, because if you allowed him to bring that gun to school and say, okay, hey, it's just a toy gun. Now, what about when he brings the real gun to school? Or whatnot. So we got to be, again, you can't say in one sense be proactive and then in one sense say it's okay. The flea markets, they've been selling them since I was a kid. I don't buy guns. That's what I have pledged to myself for my community. I don't buy kids, child's guns, play guns. I don't play none of that. Even when you come to my house and your kid got a gun, play gun. Nah, you got to leave that in the car because I don't want kids thinking that guns are okay to play with. Because if you play with something, they say, practice makes perfect. When you play with a toy gun, you're going to eventually want a real one.
You got a point.
You're going to eventually want a real. So what are you doing in your community to combat that? And what are you doing in your own families to combat that? So that's what we have to do, individual stuff as well.
Right. I see Kalia Jackson here. She just kind of summed it up. She was like, impact versus intent. Impact versus intent.
Yes.
Guys, there's no way around it. He did what he did. He got in trouble one time, got suspended for 8 games. And, he had a discussion and he talked with the head of the league. And it seems to me that he was very, very disappointed because he really felt that sincerely that Ja had learned a lesson or understood what he had done, the impact of what he had done. So where Kalia is talking about impact versus intent, yeah, the first time, that applies. That applies a lot. But this is too close. And he's done it again. I see we've got Amina here with another comment. She says the issue in this country is bigger than gun control. It's self-control. And in Ja's case, he didn't exercise the best choices of self-control. He did not have to be on screen with it. He has to check his motives and thoughts.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, we're not disagreeing with any of you guys. I certainly understand both sides of the coin. And if I'm going to be honest, I've got the whole coin in my pocket and I could just flip it and I can understand whatever side that it lands on. That's where I am with it. Like I will say again, I'm just certainly happy that this is not an incident where someone was killed, because we have too
Mm-hmm.
much of that going on in this country, and that's something that we're going to have to address. All right, man. Isaac, you said it all. I think we're just going to have to let people talk about it and flesh it out on their own, feel how they want to feel, listen to the different people, have their comments, and whatever side of the coin, when you flip it up and it lands on it, if you can agree with it, you agree with it. If you don't, you don't. But
Right.
one of the matter is, he did it.
He did it.
He did
He
it.
did it. He did it. And keep in mind too, guys, um, through every sport, when something major happens, those players get suspended. We talk about a player domestic violence happens, those players get suspended. You're talking about them, being involved in some kind of uh, fight or a murder or whatever the incident is. That's a detriment, and detriment means how people view a certain organization or how they view a team. That's a detriment. They put those players out, they do an investigation, and those people come back. Regardless, across all sports, they do that. This incident isn't any worse than that or any different than that. And even in first-time incidents, the NFL didn't have anything for Ray Rice when Ray Rice did that to his wife. So he had to be the poster child for it. So now, when you have domestic violence in the NFL, they got a plan for it now, because they don't have these things in place, because they don't ever think they're gonna happen. So sometimes things happen on the first time basis, and you're just the poster child for it. And so now other NBA players come and know that they can't even have a gun on camera because Ja Morant did it. They never think that would happen.
Right.
So we got to think in those instances as well, that whatever culture they're creating, a culture now on an incident that happened, they didn't think it would happen. So now for years to come, now we understand what's going to happen and how that's going to work.
Right. I agree with you. I got one last comment that I think kind of can sum it up to basically what you just said. Voodoo Child says self-control is also the need to restrain ourselves from having to report everything to social media nonstop.
Yes,
Bottom
sir.
line, gotta stop posting it. You don't need that type of proof. You incriminating yourself. Crazy.
Right.
All right, y'all. We get ready to get on out of here. We got to get on out of here and let you guys get back into work. Isaac, you want to tell the people bye?
Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Hey, y'all can catch me on Arriva Martin tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time radio show out in LA, broadcast on 1580 FM, 1580 AM. And Arriva Martin is she's like one well-known civil rights attorneys in the country, here on CNN and all that stuff when something happens. So I'll be on her show tonight sharing thoughts as well.
All right, man. We will definitely be looking out for you.
All right.
All right, y'all. We had a conversation. I wanted to have a conversation. We are right here in South Carolina. We're very close to where Ja Morant and his family are from. And so we had to have a little conversation about our homie, about the one who kind of made us proud. He made us proud going into the NBA and just being the great athlete that he is. And we're not putting him down. We want to lift him up. We want to hope that he definitely takes some course correction. He's allowed to grow up, but it's going to be up to him, guys. It's definitely going to be up to him. All right. So it was a good topic. Feel how you want to feel. Be on the side you want to be on. But more than that, make sure that you are doing something to make sure that guns are not in the wrong hands, making sure that the wrong type of guns are not in the wrong hands, so that our kids can go to school, so that you can go to Walmart. Just too many killings are happening in our nation. And we don't have to live like this. We don't. All right. I want to get out of here too. But before I get out of here, you know what I like to do, what we always do. I want to take us into a little breath work. So when we get back into the day, we can have a little calm, have a little relax, get some of that tension off of you. All right. So let's do some breath work. Inhale to the count of 4. Hold that a few seconds. Exhale. Hold that a few seconds. Inhale again. Hold a few seconds. Exhale. And hold that a few seconds. Inhale one more time. Hold a few seconds. And exhale. Yeah. And don't you feel great? I feel great. I appreciate you guys. If nobody gave you a smile today, if nobody smiled today, you just close your eyes and give yourself a big smile and see how that feels for you. Right? Y'all be great out here. It's what we do. One love, y'all.